Today's quote to start off the show is, I tell all my aspiring players the things that are hardest to bear are the sweetest to remember.
But I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
Good morning. Welcome to the 27th edition of the Breakfast Ball. I'm your host, Bob Cardia. To my far left, your far right, DMG, David Gibson. And in the middle, today, we are blessed with Q4, Quentin Griffith IV. So let me see if I get this right today. It's the six-time club champion at Pennsauken Country Club.
Six,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. The 2013 NEAC Player of the Year, which is now the United East Conference, by the way. They've changed
Did not know that.
Yeah, United East Conference. And the New Jersey Club Tournament of Champions. All right, did I get that right?
Tournament of Club Champions.
Yeah, Tournament of Club Champions. Yeah, 2018. So blessed. And by the way, I now have two sitting in front of me, two former Rutgers team captains. So it is a big morning here at the Breakfast Ball. Real quick, remember, if you ever get anything out of this podcast, when you're rich and famous, we get 10%. As always, right? And
Standard.
What's standard? The standard 10%. I know I always say that because Jalen Brunson, I coached him in basketball, and I never told him that, so I lost out on my chance. But it's okay. And then also remember we're changing up this week because Toby Hammerquist again won the free gift card. So he's on our podcast immediately, which I love, Toby. Trust me, I love you for it. But we're going to do it a little differently. The first 10 people that respond, I love the Breakfast Ball on our podcast, we'll send you out. Well, we're going to put you into a hat, pool, and we're going to draw out for a Starbucks gift card. So, by all means, please, write on our page, I love the Breakfast Ball. Anyway, good morning. So, today's topic is going to be champions don't happen by accident. So, since I'm sitting across my champion today, I figured I'd go into that. The quote that we talk about is and actually let me make sure I get the quote exactly the way I want to get it. Today's quote to start off the show is, I tell all my aspiring players the things that are hardest to bear are the sweetest to remember. So Q and I had quite the journey. I remember recruiting Q out of high school, and your dad's gonna be watching too. So shout out to your dad, your mom, and your sister, and your brother too, for that matter. Yeah, so I remember, when we first came along and you came out for the team, and you were a highly regarded recruit. Like, we were expecting great things. And I know initially it didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to go. I remember that. And I remember, I guess, was your senior year the first year you were at the national championship?
Yeah. I was in the playoff with Pearson my freshman year.
Yeah.
But then I had that family incident. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Grandmother went in the hospital, so I drove my mom to New York. And Andrew and I didn't get to play for that fifth spot.
Yeah.
And he went. And then sophomore and junior year, we lost
the conference championship
by a shot. I shot him in, which ended up being mathematically.
Yes.
Over the course of 2 days.
Yeah.
And of course we capitalized. My senior year, and we finally got there.
Yeah, I remember that. So it's like when Dan Marino made it to the Super Bowl in his rookie season. He thought he was going to make it there every year. And when, you just, circumstances were what they were in your freshman year, he didn't go. And I'm sure you thought, well, I'll go my sophomore, go my junior. And it didn't materialize. So that's tough. And let me tell you what, because both these boys can tell you when this team's at its peak, it's a very, very competitive situation to be in. So, that one year, I guess it was 2019, we had all 10 guys, right? Averaged 79 or below. So the team was ridiculous. We actually entered B teams in tournaments, and we'd finish first and second, like in teams of 18. We were just dominant. So
I didn't even sniff that when I was there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's foreign to me.
Yeah, well, we had probably.
But we had good teams though.
They were good teams. Yeah,
very
that
good teams.
2019 team, we beat the number one team in the country at that point, which was mind blowing. But anyway, so Q, exceptionally talented player. I love watching Q play, but I guess the biggest downfall to your game at that point was the space between the ears. And I tried initially because I was usually a soft glove approach typically, to the mental aspect of the game. But I guess one day, I remember seeing on the second hole, and I mean, I don't know if you body slammed your golf bag, but it was it was something
Might
that
have been a teammate. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have possibly been. That's why we ended up with 8 instead of 9.
Louis.
Louis, I saw Louis not too long ago, by the way. But yeah, so I just shook my head and went away. And then after 9, like I always tell people, if you can tell how somebody's playing from 100 yards away,
Bad body language.
yeah, it's bad body language. It's not good. And I think we talked about the superhero pose, right?
Yeah, it makes it,
Yeah.
kind of like this.
Right.
Yeah.
It releases a chemical in the brain, and it makes you more positive. So I see Q coming off a 9, and clearly, someone just ran over his dog, and his girlfriend left him, and it was just like whatever. It was just he looked like not positive, right?
Yeah, not positive is a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I said, okay, throw your clubs in the car, and he and I left the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I drove him to Applebee's.
Mm-hmm.
We were eating good in the neighborhood.
Yes, we were.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were.
And I'll tell the conversation the way I remember it, and then you tell me the way you remember it. But I'm like, this just is not sustainable. This is not like, a guy that is big and strong, as talented as you are, should not be internalizing things the way you're doing. And you'll never get to where you need to be if you continue this. So you give me your version of it, and then we'll go from there.
That sounds about right. It was at that point it became a little more than golf. It was just kind of life in general, and it was just a buildup of bad golf, after bad golf, a couple other things, and it just hit a boiling point. That's really all it was.
Yeah, but you fought through it.
I remember winning at home that year, but it was one of the events that wasn't a lot of teams, and there weren't very many good teams in that field at Pennsauken. We were the best team by far.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, and that was okay. Like that helped a little bit, but I didn't play good in the first round of conferences at home. But we were still in it, which was the most important thing. And then it rained. The second round, I didn't have any rain gear at the time.
Oh God, I forget you. And I said the night before, guys, it might rain.
Yep.
And Q, who is a strapping young lad. Like when we go on the road, there's always the Zachs, the Qs. We're always in the gym. So Q is a strapping young lad. I guess he figured he didn't need rain gear. Well, not only was it raining, but it was flipping cold.
Yeah, it was. If there was any other day, they would have closed the course.
Yeah.
We had to play because it was conferences.
Yeah.
And needless to say, we lost somehow again, only by mathematically one shot a man.
Yes.
I think it was 8 strokes over the course of 2 days.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me at the time, I remember feeling kind of relief that at the time it was over because I had played so bad for 3-4 months at that time. And
I thought you had hypothermia. You were actually physically shaking.
Wow.
He was actually doing like
it was tough.
Yeah.
I obviously learned my lesson because I think the very next day I went out and got rain gear, rain gloves, and the whole 9 yards.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I do remember feeling kind of a sense of relief that it was over, and I could just kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah.
I didn't play golf for close to 2 months. I think it was a long time before I picked up a club after conferences ended. And once I did, I just kind of I think I went out and my buddy Jeff Deckert, we just played 9 holes after work one day, and then we both shot under par in the back 9. I just kind of felt like, man, if I could just kind of capture this mindset right here where it doesn't really matter, and played okay golf in 2012, and actually a couple months later was my first club championship.
Yeah.
The first time I won was that year.
And that's got to be huge for your confidence too, right?
That was.
Yeah.
I remember playing a good fall when I was a senior. You went out and you did some heavy recruiting for us.
Yeah.
Pete D'Angelo, Kevin Anderson, Nick Baird, Tommy Schulteis.
I brought them all in the same year, right?
All the same year.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And we had good kids on the team.
Louis was in there too.
Yeah, Louis was on that team. But we just kind of were missing 1 or 2 more consistently really good scores.
Was Carbone there too?
No, he came after me.
Came after you, okay.
Yeah. I missed Sarlo by a year. I missed Zach.
Oh, by a year too.
By a
imagine
year,
if you guys all hit the same time.
Yep. I remember Bent Creek was one of my favorite courses.
Yeah.
Super difficult, out of bounds on every hole, which would be my nightmare.
Most of them on both sides.
On both sides, yeah. If you got a 2-way miss, you're screwed. But I 3-putted my last hole to shoot even and come in second. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But I had like, not that I'm justifying this in any way, but like 100-foot birdie putt.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just totally whiffed.
So-
You know, I had 40 feet coming back for par. But that was, another boost of confidence. Played well. Yeah, I think it was our first event, one of our first events. That was always early in September. And
It
that
always
kind of,
is. Yeah, we play that every year.
yeah, that got me back on track. I was still in the midst of playing club championship matches at home.
Yeah.
And, kind of from there, it was still working with you a
Yeah.
lot, coming to the
Yeah,
range,
yeah.
always on camera,
Yeah.
fixing my swing. And
I tell those stories all the time. The
Yeah,
one-way miss. Because when you said two-way miss, that's why I hate the two-way.
oh
miss.
yeah. No, we put a lot of work in.
The one-way miss. Yeah.
I tell a lot of times, getting lessons from my dad he's very fundamental.
Yes.
So he's ball position and posture,
That's great.
and things like that. Great teacher. When I got to college and the first time you and I got together, you were the opposite, where you were much more analytical, mechanical, swing plane, and things I'd never heard of. So I'm like, what am I doing here right now? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But showing to me on camera and what you meant made total sense, because I had that super inside move.
Yes. And you
Swung
came
it over the top, threw it over,
Uh-huh.
We
And
had 4 clicks. Remember on the camera?
Oh yeah.
By the time I get down to the golf ball, we clicked 4. Well,
there was
my team this way 4 times.
Swanson, who came out to a tournament this year. He's like, I remember when you had your old swing. He was like, I won't try to copy that. He's mimicking like your 4-click move. I'm like, yeah, no. It's funny. We're trying to get him out of that, not keep him into it. Yeah.
That was back in 2010, and then that
wow.
whole summer we worked, and by the time we started that
You had a blow on draw,
fall,
baby.
we got it down to no clicks.
Yeah.
We got to the top, we set it, and we went. That was
Yeah.
And you taught me how to think.
Yeah.
well, obviously, I had a
no.
roadblock
What I'd say, and I love that.
junior
That's
year,
that's half of what I do.
Mhm.
Like, so you're sitting next to a guy here, like, so he's like the opposite of you. Like he's I tried to get him to calm down, like because he I mean. You don't want to see a cute man. It's like Incredible Hulk.
I don't know that.
He turns green. Rips
I'm
off his
worried.
shirt. Yeah. Well, we're not going to try to make him angry today. But David, is I wanted David to get angry.
Yeah, we used to talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
get the competitive
Yeah.
spirit kind of
Yeah.
firing
There's
up.
difference between like that and I think a good example of that was like Kevin Anderson.
Yeah.
He was a very good
Kevin.
player, but he just didn't have like that fire that and
No,
I was raging at that point of my senior year. I was like, I had the fire, but it wasn't anger. It was total competitive spirit. Like
The good one.
the team wanted to win.
Yeah.
But it meant a little more to Coach and I. That was my last year.
Yep.
This was our last hurrah, and
Yeah, that would have been brutal if you didn't make it that year.
it was it would have stunk. Obviously, I mean I didn't play well at nationals either, but it all came together at Dolphin Highlands.
Yeah. That was
week-
great. That was great.
that
Yeah,
last
yeah.
weekend of April 2013. That was pretty cool.
That was great.
My grandfather obviously was still alive. He was there watching.
Yeah.
Dad came out for the first round, and of course my sister had to come out and jinx me, and I played bad on the second day, but that's okay. We still won.
You're going to blame your just your mom. No.
That was special.
Yeah, it
Very
was,
special.
it was great. It was just and it's just lifetime memories because I know we have a guy on the team now. Well, we're talking. I think he's going to take a semester off. As we all discussed it, but the conversation that we've always had is your life in perspective, and when someone tells me, well, I'm not sure if I want to go to school, I might drop out. School's not for me. And I'm going to work. And nothing wrong with working. Like, there's nothing wrong with working. But this, I'm telling you, and you guys both know this now. Like, when you're, 60 years old, sitting in front of your grandkids, and you say, your grandfather, made it to the finals of a national championship. We can list all the accolades that we talked about earlier. Or you could say, you know what? I worked an extra 10 hours at Applebee's. It's just not. It's not perspective-wise. It's one of the fond memories you're going to have for the rest of your life that's never going to leave you. So, yeah, I again, when you work hard for something, isn't as hard as you worked both mentally and physically. When you achieve that level, like you'll never take that away from you.
No.
It's great.
No, I talk about college a lot.
Yeah.
My 4 years playing golf.
Yeah. Oh, we miss you. I tell David, right? How many times have I mentioned there's about 5 guys that talk about stories all the time.
Yeah, you repeatedly come up. Like, I'm telling you, you're like a legend.
Yeah.
I could have played a little better, but
No,
I think I did.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
It's
the other stuff that works.
Yes, people. I found, at least in my own world, is people that believe in what you're doing will go through walls to get there. And the people like Kevin. Actually, I had a great conversation. Kevin Anderson, if you're watching this, so he came out to one of our was it Ladies' Night? Did he come out to? one of the things he came out
Was
to.
it
He's a
last
comedian.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
I
a
remember
comedian.
coming out.
And before the show came over, he said to me something like, you know what? He's like, I really appreciate you. Because I didn't understand what you were saying at the time. He said, but now, he goes, I completely get it. He's like, I completely get what you were going for. I completely understand the thought process and what it took. And like, when I hear that stuff, man, that's just awesome to me. Because like, even though I remember him telling me, because I told him that he needed to be, we read Rotella together, Dr. Bob Rotella, which is Golf is Not a Game of Perfect is a book I highly recommend reading. He's like, how did he put it? He's like, I'm not negative, I'm a realist. And when I hear that, someone said that, I'm like, oh no, you're negative. It's like, yeah, that's not a good way to think. Like I always say positive thinking doesn't always work. I mean, there's been plenty of times where we're all been like, oh yeah, I want to do well, and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, but negative thinking does. Like I've never met the guy who thinks negatively if anything good ever happens. So given the choice, think positive. So. All right, so first you brought it up, the national championship, the first hole of the national championship.
No, it was we started on the back nine. I forget. I think it was the Raven and the Lynx. What were the two courses we played?
Yeah. Yep.
We started on the back nine. I guess it must have been the Lynx the first day. I forget 100%.
This is your senior year?
My senior year
Okay.
at
First
national
time you made the
championships.
nationals.
Yeah, first
Yeah.
time over there. It's the only tee shot I've ever hit where my whole body was shaking. I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Wow.
Yeah, and I straight went right down the middle. It was awesome.
Was it like 100 people sitting there watching you on the first tee?
There wasn't 100, but there was
Yeah.
probably 50, 40 or 50.
Yeah.
More than I've ever really, obviously seen. Never at Pensacola, that never happened. I mean, other members, that doesn't bother me. But
Yeah.
it was just the magnitude of what was going on, and finally getting there, and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know how to play golf anymore.
Yeah.
And I got off to a good start, believe it or not. We started on 10. We were on the back nine, so I went par, 3 putted for bogey on the par 5, a couple pars, and then I made a double on one of the par 3s, and then it was the 17th hole of, I guess, the back nine. I'm going to say the Lynx, if that was what it was, maybe the Raven. And there was like a pond in front of the tee box, and there was like a 180, 190 yard carry to get into the fairway. It was a dogleg right and out of bounds on both sides, and I had driver, and I just snap hooked it dead left, and we didn't see where it went. Hit a couple of trees. I mean, out of bounds is pretty tight. So I took out original, hit driver again, and that was like 50 yards right. That's dead out of bounds. So I grabbed another ball. Now it's provisional. Hit my 5th shot now. I hit 3-1 in my hand, and that was like 50 yards left. Now I'm just like panicking. My
Tournament
parent-
over.
What's that?
You think the tournament's over?
Oh, well, for
Yeah.
me, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully my score won't count, or it's definitely over. My parents and my sister were there.
Brain's already going
Oh,
to...
God.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. So I took out another ball, hit my 7th shot, got it over the water, but it was like a sky, 20-yard free wood. So I'm like, all this for nothing. Like, that really sucks.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the 2 schools we play with, but I know the father who found my first ball, spoiler alert, I think we gave it a C, Carlton or something like that, I forget. Anyway, he was 4 caddying.
Okay.
But there was a bridge to get over the water, so we kind of waited, and he was walking ahead, and he walked up left side, and I'm just kind of, walking with my head down like I usually do in that situation. And he said, Q, what was your first ball? I'm like, so-and-so, I got a dot here, I got a dot there, Bucker's getting on the side. He goes, I think it's right here. Knocked on the green, make par.
Wow.
Yeah. Which
That was like a, obviously a huge relief. I didn't finish well, unfortunately. I remember bogeying 18, and shot, I think I shot 2 rounds in the low 80s, 81, 83, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't your best, but that's all right.
Yeah, that was a cool story. I mean,
You got a second chance at that.
well,
round.
at that point, yeah. I didn't really. I didn't capitalize on that, but coming home after it was all said and done, like telling that story like over and over, people love it. It's hilarious. It's like, oh my god, what happened? I'm like, I made par.
Yeah.
I made par.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I hear you talk, I always think that, I wish you had 2 chances at it, because I know you, and I know just about every competitive player that I have. The second time they make it to the nationals, they typically play better than they did the first time, because the pressure of being there. I mean, it's like a tour event. I mean, it really is. I mean, you have the ropes out there, and it's.
It was cool. It was. NCAA's did a great job having us. We were at. What was the name of the resort? Sandestin was the resort, and Destin was the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing resort. Totally incredible.
It was great.
It was like it became a mini vacation.
Yeah.
Because we didn't make the cut, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think about it all the time.
Yeah, I actually wanted to get back to Destin.
Yeah, that would be a great trip. Anybody that's out there wants a golf trip with the boys or something like that,
Maybe
go to
we should
Destin, Florida.
We should put that together.
St. Destin, I think it was St. Destin was the name of the resort in the Panhandle.
Yeah, I still have the brochure somewhere because I want, like, your dad and I talked about going back there at some point because it's so awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
incredible, yeah.
It's like a little self-contained town.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to worry about anything. You can just walk downtown and get everything that you need. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Well, DMG, we're not letting you talk much today. So what?
I'm listening.
You're listening. You're processing. I love you bringing up Kevin Anderson because when you look at people are different. Like there aren't many people that I know that have that fire that can ultimately tame it mentally. And Zach's learned how to do it, and you've learned how to do it. And again, it's a constant struggle, right? It's a battle of life. But yeah, I mean, if you can find somebody, and that's why, like they always say, when you go to Muscle Beach, you can't find NFL football players because they might be physically talented enough, but they don't have the mental capacity to overcome. So that's what my man Q has achieved. So when is the 7th Club Championship coming up, by the way?
My first match is June 9th. First round match.
Okay.
Yeah, if I make it to the finals, that'll be Saturday and Sunday, June 29, 30.
Well, you know what I always say. When you make the
when I
finals.
make it to the
It's-
finals, yeah.
If we don't do F around here, man, we don't do F.
You know what, man? You told me. One shot at a time. What's the most important shot in golf?
Yeah, the next one,
Yep,
maybe.
the next shot.
I think I told that story last time, the Hogan story. Yeah, it really is. I mean, you can't control anything that happened 30 seconds ago, so why worry about it? Like it's. I got a bunch of quotes there on the shorts, but and again, like I preach this stuff all day long, but like when I have a bad day, I'm no different than anybody else. I sit back and I'm like, holy it's a bad day, but if you want to get anywhere in this world, you have to just don't look back. You're not going that way. Like you're only moving forward. Nothing, even if like something you did, you regret substantially. Like you can't do anything to change it. So you might as well move forward and be the best person you can be. And that's there's a whole, I guess, philosophical conversation you can have about that. But that's,
sure,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's life.
I like to talk about, when you bring that up, first shot, if it goes OB with a driver, coach preaches, the definition of insanity. Don't hit driver again.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I needed him on that 17th tee box.
I know.
I wasn't there at that point.
After a couple times, the freshmen every year will go, well, if I want to make par here, I got to hit driver again. You shouldn't have hit the first one OB. Take your poison, reset.
Get it in play.
It's never, by the way, it's also never, what should I hit? I tell the hammer story all the time too. Like, so, I don't know if you know my friend Chris, but so we want to actually play Sunday morning. It's Chris and I, fathers, and Colton, my son, and his good friend Christopher. So Chris and I met coaching Little League Baseball together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we played together. I think we played Running Deer, I think it was. And after I was over, Christopher the son beat Chris the dad. And we drove separately. So it was Chris and I were driving home, and Colton and Christopher were driving home. So we're driving home, and Chris the dad's like, I'm like, what's up, dude? Why you? He's like, well, if my son had played the right way, I would have beat him. And I'm like, what's the right way exactly, right? He's like, well, he doesn't hit driver. I'm like, what? You are aware Tiger Woods won the British Open and he won driver in round 18. Like, you don't have to hit driver.
There's no right way to play golf.
So when I played,
as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's it. I played 9 holes last year with I forget. Were you in the group? I shot 39 or 38.
I think you told me about like a 7 or 6 iron and a wedge or something.
So Rancocas, which so on 4, 5, and 7. Okay, so 4, I barely got it around the corner, and I bunted like a 5 iron, and then it was still kind of a little blocked. I bunted a 7 iron, wedged on bogey, right? Okay. Then I'm on a 5, and I basically pop a drive up. So I'm fairway-ish, but it's 210 to carry the water. Yeah. So I take out a wedge and I just wedge it down, and the guys on the team are giving me crap, right? But okay, I wedge it. I'm 20 yards short of the water. Okay, hit another wedge to 1 foot, par. Right. I did the same freaking thing on 7. I pulled it left, like left of the trap. Wedge, par, and like they go, well, you made it from there. I'm like, yeah, I could have made it from there. Right. But what I always tell, and my son who's caddies for big events will tell you that the tour caddy will tell you if you can't pull something off 7 out of 10 times, don't do it. Right. So my wedge wedge conversation that we always have, like, if you can put a wedge in 60 yards inside of 10 feet, you're difficult to beat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, that's so it's not what should I hit here. It's how do I get the ball in the hole in the least amount of strokes.
That's gonna help my scorecard.
Mm-hmm. But you got guys like you. Actually, I lent him. I gave him my driver.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he loved that thing. And that we.
How many did we test? You get a
Quite
lot.
A few.
I couldn't hit any one. I lost. I had the old Titleist Titanium.
Yeah.
Shout out Norm Figueroa. Had his way back in a long time ago. And then I just lost it after my freshman year, because it was the spring of 2011, which was my sophomore year spring, where we were like, I can't. It was a snap block every time, no matter what we did, no matter how we set up, no matter how many lessons I got, I just totally lost the drive. Yeah. And then you had the old Callaway.
Yeah, the
Squarehead.
The FTI.
And you could try this for a second, and we're in the range.
Ooh.
Over the water.
Automatic.
Automatic. He goes, yeah, well, we would fix this.
Oh my.
Then I went out and I shot 80 at Dolphin Highlands in that one tournament, but we won.
Yeah.
We had that was one of our better teams.
Who was that?
That was Andrew, Cass, Drazen. Remember Drazen went off, played incredible golf that whole semester.
Yes.
I think he shot above 75 or 76.
Yeah.
Joey DeVito played really well.
Joey D.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. I talked to Joey D. He came to one of our events.
Cool.
I've talked to Joey D. The other one in that group is Drazen. I think he's a lawyer now.
Down in Florida, I think he lives. Yeah. I haven't talked to Dan in a long time.
No, me neither. But
I've seen Cass like here and there, but not in a while.
Me too.
He still plays. I see his name on a lot of Gap events.
Yeah. It's good. Like the Mid-Am was great seeing all three of our guys in entered qualified.
Good.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Well, if you learn anything, like I say, out of these podcasts, and I love today because we're talking more nuts and bolts about playing golf, but metaphor for life too. Like I always say, the conversation I had with our mutual friend, I said, if you want your life to be hard, you're going to do what's easy. If you want your life to be easy, you got to do what's hard. And that is you. I mean, we I remember distinctly when you didn't make that one team, and you came to me, you're like, what do I have to do to get to where I need to be? And I forget what day we picked, but it's like, if you're here every, let's just arbitrarily say Thursday. Tuesdays. Okay, well, I see. Don't you know his memory too? Like he can go shot by shot from 2013 on a golf course.
He's locked in.
He's locked in, which is great. So Tuesdays, and we met every single flipping Tuesday, and we put it on camera, and incrementally got better and better and better till his move, it went from a multiple hinged move to something smooth. Yeah, underneath his target line, and he was hitting a blow-on draw. And when you're this big and this strong, that draw, I mean, it's like he hits it and lands somewhere in Ohio. It's great. It's a beautiful thing. So good. Well, welcome again to another edition of the Breakfast Ball. Again, if you want to do our merch, we have the link for merchandise, and. I always think I'm forgetting something. Oh, shit. Yeah. Subscribe. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Bob Cardia.
David Gibson,
DMG we call him, and
Quentin Griffith
IV. Yes. Thanks for being on the show, by the way, brother.
Coach, thanks
for having me. Love having you, brother.
Yeah, really good.
Thanks for having me. Yep, definitely.
Glass of bourbon, my bourbon, my bourbon, Alcohol, because no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.